Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Outside Shots with my man, Eddie Johnson. I'm Saul Bookman. We're always brought to you by the good folks at OG's, the best edibles in the game. EJ, how you doing today?
I'm doing stupendous. Enjoying the weather.
Okay.
Enjoying my little vacay,
Okay.
which I guess Suns fans think I've been taking a lot of vacays here lately.
I mean, I'm not going to say you haven't.
Well, I mean, the team, I didn't like the idea of having to be in Boston for like 4 days.
You don't like going to the East Coast at all, do you?
I don't like traveling anymore.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
Yeah, because you didn't go to New York either earlier in the year.
Think about it. I traveled 18 years as a professional basketball player. Really 22 years, because in college you're traveling. We were flying on them little bitty planes. Like we take 5 planes and like be 5 players on each plane. One day, I know I jumped to something else, but that's what I do. One trip I was on the plane and I was looking at this older gentleman. He had to be 50. And so we're in this plane that only seats 5. And so when you're young, you're dumb, right? You just don't like think of things and say, something's wrong with that. So this one day, I think God put it on my mind. I looked over at the guy and he had coughed. And I looked at him and I'm sitting up here in the pilot seat, co-pilot seat, because that's how small the planes were.
Okay.
That's how we flew. Okay?
The
University of Illinois, we fly to different cities, like, because, the Big Ten doesn't have a lot of big airports, so you fly into the college town and you play.
So would you take like 4 or 5 different
planes?
Yes.
Oh,
my God. What?
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. But see, I always made it my purpose to sit in the front.
Okay.
And it had more leg room. And I had seniority, so, it played that way. But, yeah, so, and Mark Smith, who's not here today, but he was a tremendous player, he would always lay down all the way in the back because he's probably out partying the night before, and he'd just be asleep laid back there. But anyway, I looked at the guy because he coughed, and I was like, sir, there's something wrong with this pitcher. And he's like, what, Eddie? Because we were personal. I said, if something happened to you right now, how the hell are we going to get this plane down? And he looked at me and he was like, you have a point. That's all he could say.
What else is he going to do?
So I looked at him, I said, look, I've never flown a plane before, but from now on, when we fly together, you're going to teach me how to fly. True story, man. True story. And guess what? He taught me.
Do you know how to fly?
No, well, I think at that point in time, based on what he taught me, I could have landed the plane.
Okay.
And so when the plane would take off, and none of the players knew, plane would take off, he would actually let me steer the plane. That's true story. He would actually show me, Eddie, okay, if when landing, boom, boom, you pull this, you do this. So after a period of 3 years, I had an understanding.
Okay.
And so I felt comfortable.
Man.
Yeah. So I'm tired of traveling, man.
All right.
Like, I've been doing this for almost 25 years. I never thought I'd be calling Suns games for 25 years after traveling in the NBA for 18.
You couldn't have got me on those prop planes. Not a chance. I ain't going out like Richie Valens or Patsy Cline. Ain't happening. Nope.
We got a friend that has a middle schooler that is actually flying planes. So if a middle schooler can freaking learn how to fly a plane, we can.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, Book was on the JJ Redick podcast. I don't have a good transition from planes to this, so I'm just going to go. And
well, the good transition is, it's an archaic plane, and JJ probably wouldn't know what an archaic plane is because he only knows basketball from late 90s to now.
Just land the plane on what you're going to talk
Well,
about.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's how you can bring JJ Redick in.
Okay.
Anything basketball-wise before the 2000s, he has no idea about.
Okay. All right. Well, JJ Redick was interviewing Devin Booker, and he got into a lot of different topics and a lot of things that we've, nationally they've talked about, locally we've talked about. But it was really nice to hear Devin just kind of open up a little bit, get a little bit more of his perspective. Devin is always too cool for school, right? Like he's just got this demeanor about him that's pretty laid back, pretty chill. It's calculated, I think. I think he's always cognizant of what he is saying and how he is saying it. I don't think there's a single word that comes out of Devin Booker's mouth that doesn't have some type of intent behind it. And I thought it was really fascinating. One of the topics that came up was the appreciation for greatness and in really talking about Kevin Durant. And I thought his points were valid, and what JJ Redick also had to say was pretty significant.
I'm going to make an argument here. Well, I'm not going to make an argument. I'm going to give a take. I think whatever happens the rest of Kevin's career, and I mean this, I really do. I'm not just, I'll go on First Take next week and say this shit. I think whatever happens for the rest of Durant's career, we're going to look back in like 10 or 15 years and be like, why the fuck did we spend all this time with all the bullshit discourse and not just appreciate literally one of the greatest basketball players to ever play this game? Yeah. I really, it's not going to happen. And by the way, we're going to keep this in the podcast.
Yeah.
And there'll be a million fucking comments on YouTube about why I'm wrong and why he shouldn't have left Oklahoma City or blah, blah. Who fucking cares? He's literally one of the greatest players ever. And we spend too much time on the bullshit instead of just appreciating his fucking night-to-night greatness. LeBron James has 20 straight seasons scoring 25 points or more a game. That's the record. You know, second?
Kevin Durant.
15 in a row this year.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, the real ones know. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is clickbait, in my opinion. Like, my biggest thing, I'm sure he'd say the same thing, is like getting respect from the ones that you respect. You know, the real legends of the game, the people that can sit at the same table as you. And once you're verified by those and your idols, like they're always going to say something. That's just me.
I have some thoughts about the Kevin Durant perspective, but I wanted you to kind of touch base on this first.
Well, I mean, look, I first of all, I like the idea of podcast. We do one. But JJ's got to know kids are watching this, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this dude ran off 15 curse words. Like, I'm serious, man. Like, we're out here trying to educate kids. Now, JJ has a great point. He's trying to educate kids on Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
But a kid that's listening to that is like grabbing on. And I have this problem with a lot of podcasts. Now, I don't have a problem with somebody one curse word every. The dude ran off 15 curse words, man.
I mean,
trying to describe Kevin Durant. Like, it's a better way to do it. What are you searching for when you're doing that? Because if you're a kid and you're watching and you want this information, then you can't distort it by running off all them curse words and describing him. I just have to say that. Because I'm getting tired of a lot of the podcasts that go overboard like that. You know, curse word every now and then. I mean, you throw one out every now and then. You know, not an issue.
Do you know my shtick?
Not an issue. But you're not like, you wouldn't have done that. And so my thing is, you know, if you're trying to build up what Kevin Durant really was, then, you know, throw some better adjectives in there, man. But still, what I would say this is he's right. But welcome to the world of X and Instagram and social networking. Like, people don't even have time to even focus on the good of somebody anymore. They're always focusing on the bad. And it's just, it's disturbing. It truly is. It's truly disturbing to me. Like, these guys make a lot of money in this era of social networking with a brand and all of that, and I get it, but it's a trade-off. And the trade-off is you become a recluse. You know, you become a recluse, though. Do you really enjoy the fact that you're making that money when you pick up your phone and somebody's accusing you of something and they don't even know you?
Oh, yeah.
Or they're ripping you and they don't even know you. And I think that's why you see Kevin Durant being as quiet as he is and laid back. Like, he will respond to people on Twitter, but he doesn't engage them in a long conversation. Every now and then he has. He's engaged me in the conversation, when he didn't like something that I said. But overall, he just engages and he goes. And I think it's because of what people have said about him and how they view him and all of that. And you kind of shut the guy off. And now we don't really get a chance to get to know the guy. And so I agree with JJ on that one. I mean, it was a great question to ask Devin. And Devin is right. The real ones do know. Like, anybody that plays the game of basketball, especially at a high level, they know how great Kevin Durant is. They know how, like, dynamic and responsible on the court, focused, loving the game of basketball, that he has. I've been watching Kevin Durant since AAU, man. I was coaching AAU. Sat in the stands, between our games, watching him as a high schooler. I mean, this dude is always just balled. That's all he's ever done. And people don't get a chance to really enjoy that because they're looking for the negative in everything. And that's why I call them water boys and couch potatoes, man. They think I'm mad, I'm being offensive. No. You don't know because you just guessing and you just going to pick the wrong thing to say. So, yeah, I like Devin's response on that.
Well, okay, so I have a couple different perspectives on Kevin Durant. I think, first of all, I've always thought Kevin Durant was one of the greatest players in the NBA, period. When he started getting on that role and started finding himself in that groove at OKC, he was just awesome. He was awesome. He's always been awesome. And I did not care at all that he ended up going to the Golden State Warriors, because I think that the rules of greatness only mattering if you get a championship are stupid. I think it's absolutely stupid. You can use it as a separator, but I don't think that's the ultimate definition of greatness. I think Charles Barkley is a great player. I don't care that he didn't win a championship. He was one of the best players, if not the best player at his position at a given point in time in his career. Kevin Durant, same thing. He is one of the greatest players ever. And if he had never won a championship, I would still say that he's one of the greatest players ever, despite the fact that he didn't win a championship. That's what I think about Kevin Durant, because his skill set is so unique and it's so different than anything we've really seen in the game before at his size. And so that's number one. Number two, I do think, and honestly, I didn't really notice this and I didn't really pay attention to it because I don't go on social media I wasn't on Brooklyn Nets social media or Golden State Warriors social media or OKC social media. So I had no idea about KD stans. And there's nothing wrong with KD stans. They like their guy. They love him. I totally get it. But the problem is that sometimes, like for us, for instance, on our son's podcast, we have to talk about the team. And sometimes we single out Kevin Durant because he plays amazing. There are very rare times will we say that he played poorly or whatever. There's sometimes because Kevin Durant's standards, he set his own standards so high that he scores 25 points and you kind of just move on past it because you're just so used to it. So it takes a unique night for it to really come to your attention in that manner. Same thing with Devin Booker. That has happened plenty of times with Devin Booker. But because they're focused on one individual and they'll come into these chats or they'll go onto social and they'll just start attacking people for not being all about KD all the time, it kind of turns everybody else off to a certain degree on KD. And that's not fair to KD at all. And I think you could ask anybody in this city, do they think Kevin Durant's a phenomenal player? They're going to tell you yes. And all because you don't talk about him 24/7 doesn't mean that you don't think that he's any less of a great player. And that is the conundrum with Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant has not had anything to do with that. That is strictly us on the outside looking in. And then the last thing is, I think because Kevin Durant is vocal from time to time on social media, he will call people out. He will say things or question things in a media scrum if he doesn't think that narrative is really accurate. I think people perceive that as being soft or being sensitive or having rabbit ears. And I would say it's the opposite. I think he's just calling people out on their bullshit. And I'm absolutely fine. I fine. And so I think that's a tremendous thing. See, and we got like Slim Reaper right here. Y'all called him the third option. There's no point in time ever that we've ever said that he was the third option.
On this team?
Yes.
Who said that?
Nobody. Absolutely nobody. And see, but we got false narratives out there saying that we called him a third option. Kevin Durant has never been a third option anywhere, ever. So that's what I'm saying is like you can't sit there and have a legit, honest conversation with people that are so emotionally invested into one person when we have to talk about a whole team or a whole league. And it's just really difficult. There's other people that have narratives against Kevin Durant. I know that's the case. I know that there's people out there in the NBA landscape and the media landscape that are just not fans of Kevin Durant because of X, Y, and Z, whatever. But I don't think anybody here in the Valley has ever been like that, or at least not us on this show and this podcast and the Suns podcast. Like, we've just never been that. And that's the thing that you're just like, oh my gosh, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. So I think those are the different levels to Kevin Durant and why people don't pay it. They don't revere him in the moment the way they should because they're distracted by all the other bullshit that goes on that he doesn't have anything to do with. And that's not fair to him. And we should take a step back and realize that he is one of the greatest players of all time, without a doubt, and just let it be.
That's it. And, and let the people judge him that went through it. Like, I'm not in the operating room judging a doctor. Oh, you should have did that. You should have did this. I'm not in the courtroom judging a lawyer. Oh, you should have done that. I think the people that are qualified can judge them. You can have an opinion. You can have a small opinion, but have your opinion and move on. There are a lot of people, man, they just constantly having opinions, and they never had the wherewithal or the ability to run a suicide. Never. They probably don't even work out. Like, they don't even know what it's like to go in a gym and just push yourself to the limit. Mm-hmm. But yet they have an opinion. Oh, he's soft. Oh, he's this, he's that. And you don't even take the garbage out. Probably go to your apartment and you didn't take the garbage out for 2 weeks.
Never wanted to throw up in the middle of a game because you were playing so hard.
Yeah, I mean, just like it's these people that sit at home a lot of the times, and I love getting on them. They feel bad about themselves, and so they seize on the opportunity to rip other guys, and that's why I put everybody on levels. I do. You know the game, okay? You played the game at a lower level, but still you understand the game. Like, I respect people like that.
That was a little subtle jab.
No, it's not a jab. It's a lower level. You didn't play in the NBA.
He said you played the game at a lower level.
But
anyway.
My point is that, I don't call you water boy.
I appreciate that.
They think I call everybody water boy that didn't play in the NBA. That's not true. No, it's the ones that don't do research. It's the ones that have an opinion that is just so far out of this world that it just grabs my attention and I go at them. Mm-hmm. And it's just, and then, you got to understand something. Like X, Instagram, all of that, we're being controlled, right? You do know that. And I'm not denying, I'm on X, I read stuff, but we're being controlled. A lot of these people on here are bots. They're not even human. But you know what? Just think how smart they are. They want to facilitate an argument and keep it going. And they got bots just jumping in there and saying, oh, this and that, just to keep it going. And we buy into it. That's why I'm telling you, I just hope sometime in the future, maybe I won't be here, but I just think we should treat social networking like we do Social Security accounts. Like, you cannot have an X account unless they have your Social Security number. And if they got that thing, they got your profile pic. Now let's see how you act.
I don't know about Social Security number. I would say at least have your profile pic and your name.
Not the Social Security number shown.
No, I know.
I'm saying know exactly who you are.
Yes.
That is the only way they're going to know you.
Yes.
So they know you. That's the only way you can register.
Yes.
On X. And now let's see how you act.
See, that'll change everything.
If I ever invented a social networking business, I'm telling you, a company, you wouldn't be able to get on it because now people will be on there not afraid of showing who they are. Like I'm probably going to make somebody some money now. I just want a percentage if you go do it. But seriously, I'll come find you. I'll find you.
It wouldn't make money, Eddie. It won't make money.
Why?
Because nobody wants to do that.
No. I don't think LinkedIn people do it.
People like to be.
LinkedIn people do it.
Not as many as on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram.
No. What I'm saying is LinkedIn people aren't afraid to show who they are.
Okay,
that's the point.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
So they do it because they feel comfortable in doing that, and they're not going to be out there acting crazy. And if they do have an opinion, like we have an opinion on this podcast, they know what we are.
Yeah.
And I have an opinion.
True.
I'm not running.
True.
So my point is, I just think something has to change with all of this because we're missing out on the dynamic career of Kevin Durant. He's 35 years old. Okay? He's not going to be here forever. Okay? LeBron has given us an extra 6 years of his career. Like, he has given it to us. It's almost like you have a favorite actor and he didn't retire. How many of you guys out there now that know Eddie Murphy, okay? Right? That are familiar with Eddie Murphy. Aren't you a little upset that we don't get the same Eddie Murphy we used to get?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's kind of he's a watered down version of himself.
Right, isn't he? Because he had kids. Now he can't curse.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't even get that anymore. I miss him. Right?
Yep.
But you know what? I watched everything that he did, so I can appreciate him still. Like, I appreciate LeBron because he gave me so much just watching him. Like, I wish Michael could have played more. I hated when he took off 2 years. I wish Magic could have played more.
Yeah.
I wish Bird could have played more. Like, Kareem gave us everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this life isn't long. So when somebody that you really like to watch and see play, man, when they give you bonus years of them in a career, in a job that really only going to allow you to play 10, 11, 12 years, you would love to enjoy it. People don't even get to enjoy it, man, because every day they're trying to find something negative about that person. It's sad.
Yeah,
it's just really sad, man.
It is. To clarify something, Slim Reaper came back and said, pretty sure it was Flex who suggested that, by the way. It did happen. Slim, I appreciate you. What I will say is this. Hello did make a good point. Earlier in the chat, he said that we had talked about Beal and Book getting going early in the game because KD can basically get his at any point in time. So for them to heat up first and then KD, get involved or whatever because they need to get into the flow of the game because they handle the ball. They got to be the ones that set up everything and all that stuff, right? I don't think that means that Kevin Durant is the third option by any stretch of the imagination. And if you watch these games, you know that he's not. And I think that was the point. And if Flex said something else different, then I'll let him defend himself. But I do appreciate you, Slim Reaper, for saying that. And the
government already has your social security number. Somebody brought up that.
Somebody said
the government already has your freaking number. Are you freaking kidding me?
Somebody said, do you really trust?
They might be listening to me right now on this damn phone. You worried about the social security number and the government gonna get it? They already got it. They got cameras right now. Okay, when 9/11, get me started on history. When 9/11 hit, Okay?
Oh.
Don't you know that they passed laws to turn the cameras to the street? They already know where you're driving. It's about a social security number. Hey, you still...
Oh, boy. Wow. All right. They used to call him Jump Shot 8. Now they just call him Crazy Joe. That was a tangent out of nowhere.
Doesn't bother me.
Do you really
Like,
trust Elon with your social, though?
he already can get it. And you know what? I got LifeLock. If somebody look, it's $300 a year. I want somebody to get my social.
Oh, man.
Because they got to pay me. Okay? So I don't care.
You might not be alive by the time that you get that money.
It's fine. My kids will get it. I don't care. Look, man, look.
Oh, man.
I'm not tripping, man. If you got any kind of bot system in your house, they're listening to you anyway, dude. They got TVs right now. They can listen to your button. You worried about your social security number? Please, just don't do bad, right? If they're in my house, they bored as I don't know what. Like, damn, we don't do nothing.
Oh, my goodness. If you're into conspiracy theories like Eddie, you can have some OGs to help you calm down a little bit. OGs are the best edible in the game. Check them out at ogsbrands.com. They have the best edibles out there. I've told you a million times, folks. You don't need to hesitate. Just go to your closest dispensary, get yourself a sativa or an indica to calm down a little bit. You got the RSOs, you got the Happy Balance gummies, and then you got the new vegan gummies that are fantastic. 100 milligram, little circle with slices that are each 10 milligrams. So help yourself today. Go to ogsbrands.com. Follow them on social media, on Twitter and on Instagram at ogsbrands. All right. So the second part of what we want to talk about when it came to Devin Booker was competitiveness. And this is going to lead us down another rabbit hole, I do believe. So, they talked about, there's this theory that Devin Booker only started talking trash when they started winning, which is absolutely false. And if you've ever watched the Suns prior to 2021, you know that that's not the case. But don't take my word for it.
We were talking earlier, and you said to me, you were like, people think I didn't talk shit till we started winning. And I just want to let the audience know that Devin Booker, as a rookie, was talking shit to me from day one. That's who you've
down
been.
20.
Down 20 in the Staples Center.
I don't know where that came from, where I just started doing it as of late, but I feel like, trash talking is a lifestyle. It's something that, the environments that I grew up in, we've been doing that since we say yay high. You know what I'm saying? Since I was this tall, like, in everything we did, though, not just basketball.
There's obviously been some back and forth with you and Luka.
Uh-huh.
And I had a conversation with RJ and Legler. I don't know if it was the end of last season or the beginning of this year, but we talked about how there are essentially no more rivalries in the NBA. And some of that, I think, is because there's more player movement. And so the same teams, we're not getting the Heat versus the Knicks 4 straight years in the playoffs. We're not getting the Bulls, Jazz. I mean, obviously we had the Cavs, Warriors, but right now there's so much parity and so much player movement. We're not seeing that as much. Do you have any insight as to why you don't think there are as many player rivalries or team rivalries in the NBA today? And also, by the way, do you think it would be good for the NBA if there was more shit talking between certain players, more shit talking between certain teams?
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, the environments I grew up in, that's how the game was played, and most of the guys that I idolized, did the same, and the guys that I still idolize do it.
Do you think of yourself as an agitator at all?
Agitator. Competitor. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shit talking is part of what makes you get in the mode,
For
get
sure.
in the mindset. Essentially, it's a selfish thing. It's for you.
100%. Like I said, that's how I grew up, though, and everything. It's always been competition from NBA Live before NBA 2K. we were talking shit on there. So, but believe it or not, I usually don't start it, but all I need to do is hear like any little thing, and well.
So there's two different things we're going to talk about. First, obviously the trash talk, and then second, competitiveness in the NBA and rivalries. So let's start with the first. This narrative that Devin Booker never talked trash until he started winning was obviously false. It's always been false. I remember a very specific moment in 2019-20 when we were playing the Clippers here at home, and Pat Bev wanted to start chirping, and Devin Booker proceeded to give him the business on multiple occasions, on multiple possessions, back to back to back to back, and basically made Pat Bev his little kid. And they weren't a successful team at that time. They barely made enough. They barely got enough wins to get to the bubble. So I don't understand why the NBA won't allow more trash talk, in my opinion, because of the fact that you have lost out on these rivalries, which we'll get to in a second. You need to have something that gets people emotionally involved to keep watching. It's all good when you're watching these games because you want to appreciate basketball and stuff like that, but there still needs to be an emotional attachment to your team and to these games that is a little bit more than just wins and losses. You need to be invested. That's the reason why the NBA became the NBA and went to newer heights, is because you had Bird versus Magic, Lakers, Celtics, two teams that absolutely hated each other, were physical with each other, and now the physicality's kind of been taken away to that degree. So what else do you have? Let them talk trash. These referees that keep teeing up guys because they say one curse word on the court, that's ridiculous. Like, it's just ridiculous. So I want to see more of that come back. I do like it. And that is how, listen, if you go to the park and you play, you know that's how it goes. There's no difference just because you're in front of, 17,000 fans? I don't care about that. It's still the game, and that's part of the game.
Devin is a real one. He's old school personified. His dad played. So his dad raised him that way. Devin was around trash talking. And what happens when your dad played and when you're teaching your kid, the best way to get his attention and to get his emotion going is to talk junk to him. Mm-hmm. So his dad probably started that. And Devin said, okay, this is okay. I can do this. And trash talk really, so people understand it, because I was one of the worst. I'm not going to lie. I talk junk, okay, all the time. But it wasn't that I was disrespecting the guy I was talking junk to. It was self-motivation for me.
Ooh.
See, that's what they don't get. See, it was self-motivation for me, because if I talk junk to you, what is that going to do? It's going to raise the level of your play.
Okay.
Which in essence is going to raise the level of my play. And I'm dead serious.
I don't think everybody has that perspective, though.
Oh, yeah, well, they do, but they don't understand why they have it. They do, but they don't understand. Devin just said it. He competitive. Like, he talks junk because he said, I'm listening to hear somebody say something that makes me go at him. No, he said it. That's all it is. It's self-motivation. And to be quite honest with you.
But he's not an instigator. So he's not doing it to get a rise out of his own performance.
Yes.
He's just responding to what they're doing.
No, that's not true. Devin talks junk.
Okay.
Period. And no. I see him. I've had conversations with him. He talks junk, period. Okay? To get a reaction from you. Like, I would talk junk to certain guys to try to convince them to start to go at me offensively, knowing that they're not supposed to because they can't score that way.
That I understand.
And it hurts their team.
For sure.
So it's all about motivation, and you got to know how to use it. And Devin knows how to use it. He can just look at you. He'll just look at the bench and just stare him down. Don't have to say anything. A lot of times you get to a point where you don't even have to say anything. But it's strictly motivation. That's all it is for you. Like, to push yourself. To like say, okay, I got you going. Okay, bring it. Let's go. Let's do it. And that's why I used it. I used it all the time. And I'll tell you this, officials do let them talk junk, Saul. They just don't let them talk junk and do all this and be in their face doing this. But if you and I playing and I score and you walk up, man, you can't freaking guard me. You suck. Official's not calling a tech on that. Now, if I turn to you and I'm like, you can't guard me, yeah, you're going to get a tech.
But why?
But no, because you bring the crowd into it. It's an art to
That's the
trash
point.
talking. No, it's you and him. You and him and his teammates.
Okay.
That's it. And it's a way to do it to where you don't bring the crowd in. Because the crowd comes in, then that guy might get way over his feelings, then a fight could break out. So you don't do it that way. You just run, like, I'll be standing next to a guy. You bring Dominique on here, any of these guys on there. I know who you are, but you get out right now. He knows I'm talking to him. I don't have to look at him. I walk past the bench. I've walked past Jerry Sloan. Jerry, you tried 2 guys. You running out of guys to put on me. You need to put somebody else on me. And I'm looking straight that way, but he hears me. And Jerry was cool, because then after a while, I turned out, look at Jerry. Jerry just be like laughing. Because he did it.
Yeah.
Like, he understood it. So that's all it is, man. And Devin is that dude, man. And, and so people can like, oh, you talk junk. Yeah, talking junk is a way psychologically to get in your head because he has respect for you. But he only talks junk to people that he has respect for at a high level, because he wants to get in their head.
There's an art to it for sure. But, again, I didn't. Okay, let's go back to the Bulls Knicks, right? And Xavier McDaniel trying to be physical with Jordan and them going head to head or whatever and almost getting physical, right? That they were talking trash, but it then escalated. And the best part about it was it did get the fans involved. You got charged up. You want to beat that team even more. Could you imagine if Devin came down and just absolutely dunked all over Draymond Green? If that was any other player in the league, you'd be like, damn. But if it was Draymond Green, you'd probably jump out of your seat and say that, because it's Draymond Green and he's the ultimate instigator, trash talker.
And he's a great defender too.
Well, sure. That's part of it for sure.
He's a great defender.
Pat Bev, same thing. Pat Bev is not a great defender.
No, well, not now, not anymore, but he still works
but
at it.
But he's still an instigator.
And he still works at defense. He might not be as great as he once was, but you're not going to just score on him easily.
Okay.
You're still going to have to work. So, yeah, you would want that. Yeah, but the league allows it, man. They just don't allow you to just visibly be pull the crowd in with the trash talking. And again, guys aren't affected by the crowd. You get these dudes that on the baseline, under the basket, take their shirt off, shaking their belly, trying to think they're going to make a guy miss a free throw. Man, stop. Hey, you boo a player. Boo. Every time he touches the ball, boo. Don't you know you're raising this level of concentration? Seriously. I love the fans. I love them. The fans are more so to support your team. Yes, when the fans are cheering loud and they're pushing, yeah, it energizes your team. But boo, I have my best games on the road with you booing me.
I feel you.
Please. Boo? I want to boo. No. So I think the league allows it. They just don't allow you to just be all, demonstrative with it. And so, you got to know how to do it. And Devin does. He knows it, man. He knows how to get under your skin, man. He does.
Well,
and it's great to talk about and watch.
Well, let's talk about the competitiveness then, and then the just the overall aspect of the league, and this. Listen, the league has become a little bit too buddy, and this one thing leads to another, right? And Devin's reasoning was because a lot of those guys they've been playing with each other for a decade, in the AAU circuits, and they all know each other, and so it's just easier to just maybe talk trash on the court, but it's just it doesn't ever escalate to that level, and that's why I feel like you need the trash talk to go to another level, just to keep it you need to have some kind of
competition, man.
It is competition.
And trash talk is a part of sports.
But they don't even go to that level sometimes because it's like the game's over, or even in the middle of the game, they're having fun with each other. Book's not like that. Book is not like that. The only time I've ever seen Book do anything like that was when he was talking to Luka, saying, congrats on your baby or whatever. But like, I want to see. That's the old school part that I do miss. It's just the emotional competitiveness, the physicality, and the trash talk that was so blatantly obvious. That is just it's tough to kind of feel like that it's gone.
Man, look, Ty Corbin's one of my best friends. Love Ty to death. One of the greatest teammates I ever had. And we played them in the playoffs when he was in Utah, and I was with Seattle. And I said, at the beginning of it, I think we ran out, I walked past him. I said, have a good series. I'll talk to you after. That's a true story. Any of my friends. Like, I never talked to them before a game. I just couldn't do it, man. Like, I'd talk junk to them during the game, but I would not say anything. Like, the only time I would talk during a game is obviously, within my teammates, or if I was talking junk. Like, I'm not saying hi to you, none of that. I have to concentrate, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, between those lines, man, it's just, it's I hate to use the word war, but, it's competition. It's like, man, when it's over, it's over. I was like that in practice. Like, hey, man, we go over to the water cooler, we can talk, but dude, between these lines, man, I'm not trying to talk to you right now. And you're right. We don't have that mentality with guys, man. They combine lovey-doveyness on the court to playing. And now some guys would do it to trick you. Like MJ would do it to trick you, How you doing? Then he turn around and bust your butt. It's like, so it's some guys that would use it that way. But man, I just felt like, man, I don't want to say anything to you until the game is over. Like, I like to think I had a good relationship with John Stockton, Karl Malone, and I would never say anything to them. They wouldn't say anything to me. And after everything was said and done, they, how's your family? But other than that, nothing.
Yeah.
And these guys today, you're right, Saul. I mean, they talking and and I'm like, no, man. Like after the game, even, man. Like I love Jason Tatum and I love that, and I understand he and Bill are great friends. But I'm like with me and Mike Woodson, people not gonna see us hug on the court. Yeah. But when the game's over, in the locker room, in the halls of the locker room, I'm going to go in there and sit with you. We're going to talk. We're going to hug it out. All that. Say hi to your kids. Say hi to your significant other. All of that. But in front of the fans, not getting it from me.
Yeah.
You're not freaking getting it, man. And I'm telling you, and many guys didn't get handshakes from me after a damn game. Now, you can tell me poor sportsman all you want. I don't care. Go kick rocks. I am a great sportsman. In the locker room, in the hallway, out of the view of you. Because the only thing I wanted you to see from me is that I hurt when I just lost. I didn't want to talk to anybody. It bothered me. But in the hallway, hey, man, good game, bro. How you doing? You got the best of me this time. And going about my business. All this hugging and stuff, man, during the game and after the game, I can't stand it.
Well, we're gonna cap this by kind of putting. People have already said it in the chat. They feel like this whole legacy thing has kind of started a little bit in the LeBron era. Whether you agree with that or not, it's whatever. But Shaq actually talked about this very point.
So I've heard players say, including myself, I feared Mike. I've heard players in your generation say they feared Kobe. I've never really heard any players say they fear LeBron.
And I got killed for that.
Why is that? You're not going to get killed here. I'm just saying, when I first said that, people killed me for that. I'm with you.
I didn't think players really feared LeBron like they did Jordan.
I never heard anybody say it.
And it's not that you shouldn't fear LeBron. I just think at the end of the day, Bron has been through so much that he wanted to be liked. So it was kind of like,
And he is a nice guy.
yeah, I'm gonna do
Very
things
nice.
now where
Love
like
Bron.
people like me, people respect. I mean, you're always gonna respect what he did, but you actually like Bron and want to be a fan of Bron now. So I think that's what that was.
You have something to say, Eddie?
Did Mario Chalmers even play against Jordan?
No.
How do you know that people feared him?
I mean, here's stories.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay,
Seriously.
all right.
We just talking about, like, I feared guys after the game going to my damn bus and car, game bangers.
Okay.
I feared them. I feared them dudes that would sit in the stands and say, hey, man, you better not win this game. No, we gonna do something to you. I feared them crazy animals.
Yeah.
Like, I feared Lonnie Shelton when I called him a fatty, and he looked at me and like, what? And tried to hurt me
Yeah.
for the next 10 minutes of a game. I
Yeah.
feared him. But basketball? Man, I ain't fearing. Fear? What is so scary about a guy just busting you up and getting the best of you?
Mhm.
That scared me? No, I looked at him and admired him. But I'm not scared of him. Oh, so before the game, according to Shaq and Mario Chalmers, like, guys were like in the locker room shaking in their damn boots because they had to guard Michael Jordan.
I mean, I don't think it's quite like that.
What-
I know some people say it like that, but I don't think it
But
was like that.
see, you gotta understand something. These water boys pick that stuff up, man,
Mhm.
and they run with it. And so they're trying to make the assumption like somebody on a basketball court that played their entire life to get to the NBA and went through the rigors of making the NBA have a fear of somebody. Like, no, you don't. You don't fear. Fear, that's what you eliminated back when you decided that you were going to make this journey. Like, when you were going to make this journey, you knew it was players better than you, and you knew you were better than certain players. You knew that.
Yeah.
You knew players were going to get the best of you. You weren't going to be the king bully on the basketball court, right? So you automatically knew it was always somebody that was going to make you compete. But you were scared of them? You had fear? I didn't have fear. I guarded Mike. I didn't have fear. You hit it, you hit it. Now, come on down here and get one of these. Like, no, you hit me with an elbow, I'm going to hit you back with an elbow. Like, no fear. I don't understand what Shaq means by that. So nobody feared LeBron. Okay. But he had 40,000 damn points.
Mhm.
He's one of the greatest players ever. You had a guy that dominated the Eastern Conference, continued to get to the finals. So you're going to tell me, and Mario Chalmers was his teammate, carried your butt, okay, Mario? Nobody would know who you are if it wasn't for that dude you were playing with.
Oh, come on now. Don't disrespect Mario Chalmers and his championship efforts.
No. Who did he play for after he left?
I was talking about Kansas.
Did he disappear?
He made his name at Kansas.
He disappeared, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, okay. So the very guy that carried him and put him on a mantle, he got the audacity to say that he didn't think people feared LeBron.
Okay.
And Mike, they feared Mike. Mario, you never played against Mike. How the hell do you know? Seriously, how do you know?
He played against Kobe, though.
But he didn't say Kobe.
He did say Kobe.
Okay, but he said Mike.
They said MJ and Kobe.
Okay, but fine. He didn't play against MJ.
Okay.
Get out of here with that, man. Fear. Fear. Man, stop, man. Fear is when you playing in the inner city of Chicago and you got lookouts on every corner because the game bang is going to come disrupt your game. That's fear.
I think you're taking the fear to a whole nother level, in my opinion. Like, I think when he's talking about fear, I think he's talking about, like, if you say the wrong thing at the wrong time to MJ or Kobe, like, they will immediately drop 40 on your head.
Oh, really? I said the wrong thing to MJ. It's on YouTube. Okay, as an Indiana Pacer. Okay.
Yeah. And what happened?
He lost.
But what happened, EJ? What did he do immediately after that?
That's fine. He went crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Hold up. But he went so crazy. He was so enthusiastic. He fouled me on the last second
You
shot.
didn't get fouled.
Hold it.
Didn't you say that on this show too?
No, I know I didn't. He fouled me. Okay? He fouled me.
This is when Eddie was with the Pacers.
He fouled me because he was all in his freaking emotion, so I won.
Okay.
That's the point. There ain't no fear. Fear?
Weren't you laughing at the free throw line?
I was
you knew you got
laughing
him?
because they didn't get that record. Okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I was laughing. But it wasn't fear. Like, okay, if I was scared of MJ, why did I say something to him?
I'm not saying you were scared.
No, I'm just making a point.
Sure.
Stop, man. Fear. I can't believe Shaq with the Shaq. People feared you. You know why they feared you, Shaq?
Because he was big.
It's because your big butt would hurt people. You turn with that elbow and hit him in the chest. That's fear. That's fear in getting hurt because now it's messing with your money. But actual fear playing a game of basketball, please, man. No fear.
I think it's like a fear of embarrassment.
How can you be embarrassed when Michael Jordan scored 40 on you when he's doing it on everybody?
Because he was cruising with like 10 points in the middle of the third,
Doesn't
and then you
matter.
had to open up your mouth, and then he got done in.
But it doesn't
That's what I'm
matter.
talking about.
But
Like there's a different level to that, and I think that's what they're insinuating is just like the instantaneous reaction of those two guys specifically, and there's other ones that they could inflict on you. Go ahead.
So Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, did they fear LeBron when he went in there in a game 6, an elimination game, and dropped 40 plus on them? That's not fear, Mario. I think Mario was on that team. I mean, I dare you.
But they owned LeBron before that.
No, I'm saying when he went in there and he had that look on his face and he went to work on them, and even Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett talk about it, they're like, man, wasn't nobody stopping him.
Sure.
Was that fear? I don't think Paul Pierce got fearful of LeBron when he did that. He just said he got the best of me. Like, that's what it is to me. Fear, come on, man. You can't be scared playing this game. You can't fear anybody. You can't overly respect anybody playing this game because if you do, they're going to totally dominate you. You got to man up. That's what you've been taught in this game at the highest levels. And to say, my best Shaq voice. I don't. Nobody fear LeBron. Stop, man. Stop, man.
I just again.
That just gets something.
I just think it's more of a reactionary thing to where like just the impact that a certain player can have at a certain moment in time so quickly to basically try to humiliate you in front of everybody else. I think there's a certain fear that is attached to not wanting to be humiliated in front of thousands and thousands of people because you did something to instigate a reaction or a performance by another player. That's what I think they're talking about. And that's the difference. Now, whether you want to say that nobody feared LeBron or Kobe or MJ, it's whatever. But
you show up to a game.
Yeah.
To play a team LeBron James is playing for, one of the smartest players in the history of our game, that'll pick you apart and win, okay? And Golden State players will tell you, okay, they have said it, that dude was insane, that they knew they had the game plan. Every time LeBron James steps on the floor, the whole game plan is around him.
Yeah.
That's fear.
Sure.
But it's not fear like to the point where you're afraid. So to say that nobody feared that dude is asinine. It's asinine. And to come out of Mario Chalmers' mouth, and that was his teammate, is even worse. Like, it's even worse, man. What are you talking about? Fear. And these dudes, man.
Listen, man, I think there's different levels to this.
There ain't no different levels.
There
No
is different
fear.
levels
Fear
to
is
it.
fear.
Like, listen, man, like
Fear is
when
fear.
you're talking about like a guy that's getting, his head beat in every single night, but is still able to drop 40 on your head, that's a little different than it is today. So there is a little bit of like a little fear that goes against
It's
that.
Respect.
There's concern when it comes to LeBron.
It's concern.
There's
Okay.
fear
concern,
for Kobe and MJ.
Hold it. Concern, respect. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, if you go in a game against MJ, you like, okay, man, I got to work my butt off or this fool's going to get 50. But that's not fear. Because if you approach anything with fear, you're going to lose. Like, and that's why I kick back on that word. Like, that word is dumb. Like, if you approach anything with fear, you're already defeated.
Mhm.
You remember when Mike Tyson used to go in the ring and didn't wear a freaking robe? Like, yeah, you could see the eye. You saw the eyes on Michael Spinks when Michael Spinks was just like,
Yeah.
that's fear.
Yeah, that was fear.
That's fear. Okay? From a physical standpoint.
Yeah.
Michael Spinks wasn't afraid that he would lose the fight. He was afraid that he would kill him. That's fear. And on a basketball court, nobody's afraid that somebody's going to kill you. Like, nobody's afraid. Like, back in the 80s,
Mhm.
you could probably use that word somewhat. Because why? It was an open invitation to do what?
Yeah, clothesline people,
fight.
undercut them, fight them. Yep.
To fight. But the fear part was always from a physicality point,
Mhm.
not a basketball point. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, you can't play this game if you go in there and you're fearful of somebody. Like, you can't. Like, you won't be able to achieve what you want to achieve. Michael was better than most everybody, okay? Magic was better. Bird was better. You already understood that. Now you go in there and you fear them, then they're going to dominate you.
Mm.
Right? I gave you the story with Bird, but
Yeah.
he didn't feel like playing that night. That's all it was. When he came out there and he went at me before the game started, he didn't feel like playing. He probably was out all night drinking beer, whatever, you know. And, you know, so he's just like, let me get in this young boy's head early so I don't have to work as hard. You know? And that, okay, they try to inject that in you. Like, come on, man. Stop. I showed up this morning. Wasn't scared of you. You sitting here like King Tut.
Okay. I need a drink. You need a drink? Get some Four
Hey,
Peaks right now.
My name's Saul.
I think EJ needs a drink right now. He's a little hyped up.
Fear.
Ain't nobody scared of you either, EJ. All right, so get some Four Peaks in your system. Four Peaks just had this phenomenal barbecue event this last Saturday. I went to it. It was freaking dope. There's so many. I mean, I ate so many ribs that Saturday. Was awesome. Kill Lifter was on display. Peach ale. They had everything flowing. Get yourself some peach ale. Get yourself some Sun's Brew in the nice, beautiful new can. Get yourself some Wild Wheat by going to your closest store that serves it, by going to fourpeaksbrew.com or fourpeaksbrew.com, and also follow them on social at Four Peaks Brew. You can visit their tap room as well because it's fantastic. They got a lot of food out there. Check them out. Four Peaks. Just remember, you must be over the age of 21 to enjoy. All right. That all took quite a while, so we're just going to skip the NBA musings and we're going to get right to the thing that I was fearing the most. Speaking of fear, last week, myself, Gerald, Flex, and Espo ranked the best three-point shooters in Suns history. Now, the caveat here is, Eddie, it was your time with the Suns. It wasn't career. It was just with the Suns. And we had our rankings, and then it came to you, and this is how it went.
No. Eddie's in the standard. He's not anywhere higher than that.
No, that's where I would put him.
I mean, I would put Eddie in the standard.
Love
you
EJ
guys sit
too.
next to him next week.
I'll take all that smoke.
Eddie's like, there's a level above Shazam, and that's where I am.
Tell us the numbers on Eddie.
36% on 2.1 attempts over 4 seasons. That's a low. I think that's the lowest number of attempts outside of Jeff Hornacek.
Yeah, and so that's my point. Though Eddie probably gonna sit here and be like, "Man, if I had the green light like some of these
he
dudes,
says it every single time we
Yeah,
get
he's
outside
killing
shots.
30.
Yeah, he said it would average 30.
yeah, and
So they had you on. And all four of us had you on the last tier only because the stats tell you that you didn't get a lot of shots up, and you weren't a prolific 3-point shooter. You weren't known as a 3-point shooter. Your first season here in Phoenix, you shot 25% from three, only 1.3 attempts per game. You hit 0.3 of them. So ipso facto, whatever. Your career here was 36%, which isn't bad. But that's why you're on that bottom tier. And I don't disagree with the fact that everybody said that because you've said it on this pod that you feel like you would average like at least 20, 25 a game if you were playing in today's era, which I don't doubt. You were a shooter. You were a phenomenal shooter. We just didn't see it as much from the 3-point range because it just wasn't there. So that was my 2 cents. What do you have to say?
I mean, you sound like a doctor right now. You sound like I'm going into the office and you got bad news. I mean, that's how you sound. And I don't even know why you even sound that way, because I was not a 3-point shooter. And I could shoot the 3. The year I won 6 man, when I dedicated myself to taking the 3 for the first time in my career.
Shot 40% from 3.
I shot 41%.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I knew I could shoot it, but I was in today's game, so I was DeMar DeRozan. I was Devin Booker. I was a mid-range game player. And if you go back and you watch my film, you'll see it. And I think a lot of people get distorted with that, because a lot of these older guys now that were young when they watched me at the end of my career, they saw me play for the Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
They saw me play, and they saw me older when I couldn't get around people, when I wasn't quick enough to beat somebody off a dribble or something. That's the Eddie that they remember seeing.
Sure.
And they see me shoot a ton of 3s when I played for the Rockets. And I had no choice, because that was just the change of offense that I played in. You had Akeem, you had Charles, you had Clyde Drexler. I wasn't getting post-ups. I wasn't like getting plays run for me coming off screens for mid-range shots and all of that. So I was a mid-range shot player.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was. And that's why my percentage in my prime was always around 49, 50%, because that's what I did. A 3-point shot for me at that time was a desperation shot. It was a shot that if I felt good, I'd take it. Shot clock running down, but I didn't hunt 3s.
Mm-hmm.
But if you saw me in practice, please, I can laser 3s all day long. It just wasn't a choice of mine. I grew up wanting to see the orange ball go in the basket. I didn't buy into the 3 is better than a 2 mentality. Even on the Suns team back then, when under Cotton Fitzsimmons, we were leading the league in scoring, we were only averaging about 4 3s a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So we weren't like that mentality wasn't there. So no, I'm shocked that I was even on the list. You all.
I mean, we had to put you on the list.
I didn't care.
You're one of the better shooters in Suns history.
I'm not like for instance, like how some players get turned off being labeled as dunkers.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
For me in my career, I don't want to be labeled as a guy that can shoot the 3. That's not what I did. As you said, I averaged 1 3 a game in my career attempt. I wasn't a 3-point shooter. I was 6'8.5". I could put the ball on the floor, 1 or 2 dribbles, go left or right, pull up, take my jumper. I got long ass arms. I'd go in there on big guys and just make them stretch, make them do calisthenics. I had all kind of shots. I had running hooks. I had up and unders. I had all kind of junk, okay, that I would get out. I played in the paint a lot. People don't know that about me. That's crazy. Like, they'll think, oh, he's just a jump shooter. No, dude. I lived in the paint, too. I posted up. I did all of that. So, no, I don't have any offense to that. I just like the fact that people, get to see that, I'm not a 3-point shooter. Why? That's the easy way out. I like to go in there with the tough dude.
I was waiting
for the hook, dude. And there it came.
Let me tell you something. Look. Let me tell you something. I'm 64, right? Now, imagine these things right here now. Just imagine how they were when I played. I used to go in there and straight gangster guys that would play small forward. Straight gangster. That's what I did. Stay out, way out. Stay way out, 20, 23, 24 feet and taking a jumper. No, I go in there with the men. I go in there and just get physical. Like Olivia Newton-John. Let's get physical. I think y'all was having a good time talking that junk. You laughing now. talking about a three. Nobody care nothing about no three.
It's like you're talking yourself into.
Nobody care nothing about no three. You know, y'all do.
The wheels were going.
I know.
And then it was like,
the three.
It took him a while to get warmed up, and then he got to this point where he was like, "Wait, what?"
Rank the three, man. Rank a running hook. You know, running hook shooting son of a gun. Okay. Rank a 15-footer, you brick shooters. You gonna have no touch.
What?
Now rank that.
Out of curiosity,
rank mid-range game in the history of Suns basketball. Okay, other than Kevin Durant and Devin Booker right now. Okay, rank
Chris Paul.
I was like, okay.
Oh no, I get Chris. Dude, please. Oh, God, Chris just elbows. EJ was
that's still
corners,
mid-range.
Elbows. EJ corners, elbows, corners, paint. All of it. All of it. Hey, look, my numbers speak for themselves.
We might have to see the stats on.
Me and Chris right there. I'm not going to say I'm over Chris. He's one of the best mid-range shooters ever. No, he is.
Okay.
He is.
All right.
But, you know, percentage says a lot with that. Look at the percentage and then come back to me.
Okay.
And then and rank me on mid-range game.
Your percentage was at 50%.
After KD and Devin are two of the greatest mid-range game players ever. They'll go down as two of the greatest ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they could have played in any era.
Yeah.
Any era. Because they are unfreaking believable.
Just out of curiosity, out of those 5 tiers, and you don't need to know what the 5 tiers were called, but just 1 through 5, so 1 being the lowest, 5 being the best, where would you put Devin Booker in that?
Threes?
In just threes?
I mean, he's not, to me, Devin is a default 3-point shooter.
So
I would put him that crazy high. I just wouldn't. Because, and I don't know if he even wants that label.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a basketball player. Like, that's what I like.
Sure.
Like Steph's a basketball player. And it's unfortunate that they're going to always equate threes with Steph. Like, they always equated, like, Duncan with MJ initially.
Mm-hmm.
And they never showed the highlights of MJ mid-range.
No.
Every highlight they would show was what? Him dunking on somebody. They would never show his innate ability to get his shot off mid-range on anybody. The fadeaway, all of that. And so what happened at the end of his career, that's all they could show because he wasn't dunking on anybody. Mm-hmm. And then they say, oh, he just can't jump anymore. No, dude, he was doing that all along. Why do you think he was averaging 35? He wasn't getting 18 dunks a game. You know? So no. I don't even think Kevin and Devin, you know, care too much about being rated as 3-point shooters.
For sure. We were just ranking. Players. How good of a 3-point shooter they are. We didn't say that they were strictly just 3-point shooters, obviously.
Well, KD's ridiculous on 3. He is ridiculous.
I was similar to you, where I thought the Devin Booker was, you know, at the first or second tier in terms of.
You could give him second tier. Yeah. I wouldn't. KD's first tier. Without doubt, he's first tier. He's ridiculous, man. His feet are set at 3. It's sickening how good he is.
Yeah.
So yeah. But you know, you can't go pre-90s and early 90s and have anybody on that list because guys weren't taking threes.
I know, but you can look at some guys and be like, yeah, I know if they were playing in today's era, they would be stroking. Like,
so I should be on the damn list then.
Like Jeff Hornacek, like he'd be automatic from 3. He was damn near automatic from 3 when he was in the league.
He only took about 1 or 2 a game.
But he hit them.
But I'm just saying, though. But he only took 1 or 2.
His percentage was high, dude. What do you want me to say?
But he only took 1 or 2.
But he hit most of them.
Really? So a guy goes 8 for 8 at the free throw line, and at the end of the season, you say the best free throw shooter?
Yeah, he was pretty good. He didn't miss all year.
Okay, stop.
Would you like some stats?
Yeah, let's see. What stats we got there?
Okay, I pulled up Chris Paul.
Okay.
And I pulled up EJ.
Okay.
All right, so EJ, you took about 3 more shots a game from inside the line. No surprise there. You shot 48-8 from inside the 3-point line, and Chris Paul shot 51.
Mm-hmm.
But he took 3 shots less a game from inside.
So he's more efficient.
Yeah, he had 52-2 efficiency score.
Tough break, EJ. All
No,
right.
not tough break. I mean, we're both right there. I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty neck and neck.
No, yeah, it is. Listen, man, we're splitting hairs on this.
On 3 shots more a game to only be 2%
it's really
net
odd, and it's really odd to talk about somebody's where they would rank in the history of the game when they're sitting right here next to you.
no, it's not weird. No, because
He asked for it.
I don't have an ego with that, man. Like I knew, man. Like I was blessed, man. You think about it, I couldn't jump over a nickel. I could jump a little bit. I dunk on somebody every now and then, but I didn't really, that wasn't a part of my game. I'm blessed, man. I'm serious. Like it's so many guys in my neighborhood that were better basketball players than me, and I won't deny that. Then they'll tell you if I go back there, 'cause some of them still living in the same neighborhood. That's scary. But they'll tell you that they were better than me, and they were. Like I'm not going to deny that. I wasn't even the best player on my own high school team in my last year. Mark Aguirre he and I were teammates.
Oh wow.
So
I didn't know that.
I mean, like, yeah, and I was like the number 1 player in the state because he was a junior. But it was pretty evident. And I used to tell him, "Dude, you better than me." So no, man, I don't have that kind of crazy ego, man. Like I know, man, that I'm blessed in making it like I did and being on the right team, and being with the right coach, Cotton, and just all the things that evolved for me. Because I didn't wow you on the basketball court. You just look at the box score, you say, damn, he had 30. Like, yeah. Sneaky, sneaky E.
Sneaky. With that, we appreciate you all joining us for another episode of Outside Shots. That was a long one today, but it was good basketball talk.
Long. Well, you want me to do 2 a week, so we might as well just do 1 long one.
You can follow him. You can follow him on Twitter and on Instagram at JumpShot8. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Saul_Bookman. You can follow the show at PHNX_Suns.
Hey, Daniel, I admitted, I said Chris Paul, the second part of it, he probably had me before we did it. So I don't take the L. You take the L for not doing your research, Daniel. Get out of here.
We have to get out of here because Hunt Stark brought up Isaiah Canaan, and I don't know why he did that. So, and maybe Bill Simmons next week, so stay tuned.
No, he better be on next week. He promised.
There you go. So come back next week. Until next time, peace.